Hey guys, it's Hijinks. I'm back with another movie review. We're doing Halloween's remake in 2018. I figure we could do this because we had some pre-planned ones, but we could throw this one in a little bit early since it just came out. This will be a non-spoiler review, which means we'll be reviewing it and looking at very vague aspects, but not spoiling the actual film itself. So we'll look at the elements, but we won't be looking at scene by scene. I do have notes here to do a scene by scene. So if you guys would like a spoiler review, let me know in the comments down below. I might do one, but you'll see it in bold letters, spoilers. So if you guys don't want spoiler reviews, there'll be non-spoilers. We'll say no spoilers in the title, and there'll be spoilers that say spoilers in the title. So this is Halloween. It was another one of those horror movies that I have to say had a lot of people with comedic backgrounds involved in the film. They actually went and got John Carpenter to help out with the film, and I think it really shows. As you guys know, they did retcon a few things and change up the storyline a little bit. This is a direct sequel to the first Halloween movie. So Halloween 2 on up, none of that exists in this universe. This is the official sequel as of right now. And I will say there are quite a few things that get involved with this here. I want to talk about something that I feel like the dialogue in the film. I feel like in a lot of the movies we've reviewed, or the two movies we reviewed at this point, dialogue has been a really, really, really big issue. And I feel like in a lot of films, when it comes to teenagers and things of that nature, as there are some teenagers in this film, that dialogue becomes tricky to navigate for a lot of people because the people writing these films aren't teenagers anymore, and they haven't been teenagers for some time. I think this did a great job executing the dialogue, and that while the dialogue for teens was still a little off, it was pretty close to some talk. It was pretty good. The dialogue was pretty well researched. I can tell there was some muscle behind it. The acting overall in the film, I felt the acting was very strong. I felt like they were all able to convey emotions very well, and that it didn't seem too just cheesy or over the top. I feel like they did a great job executing the acting in the film. Jamie Lee Curtis is in the film, and she does a wonderful job as always, and a few of the smaller named actors and actresses did a great job as well. And looking at it, so there are some scenes in here that kind of nod to the original films, and I have to say they did a great job making it fit where it didn't seem like they were trying too hard to make it happen. A lot of times when you get remakes, or when you get, some form of branch of the film, whether it be a sequel or something of that nature, they nod to certain things and they feel out of place. I feel like this film did a great job executing that. Something I do want to throw in, because we have been having a lot of positives, is there's a particular negative, and that's that some of, not all of, but some of the gore effects seem to be a little lacking. Some of the, one particular effect I have in mind, which I won't say now, there was one that I saw and I was like, this one, it was a little bit, wasn't so clean. I feel like that it could have done better on some of the effects. But that being said, the film there were still some really good gore effects too. The choreography of certain scenes was well done, and definitely you could tell a lot of time went into that. And the emotions, like the suspense and there's a nice balance between jump scare and suspense, and the suspenseful moments really pulled off the suspenseful moments. I remember when I was watching it, there were some suspense scenes where I was like, oh man, like this is completely Halloween. This is what it is. It did a great job feeling like a Halloween film, which I feel like some of the films didn't feel exactly like a Halloween film. And despite the some of the lacking gore effects, that most of the effects were actually really super good, and I really liked it. I felt like that maybe it wasn't, when you look at Terrifier, where the movie was all effects that looked amazing, this had some strong effects, but not the best. Now, I want to get into something here, and there's something really important with films, something that gets missed, and that's pacing. Some films do a great job with a really good consistent pace, and they don't have to do anything to change it throughout the film. And some movies don't do good with that, where they keep it the same pace and it just doesn't fit. Some movies do a good job having one pace here and one pace there, and it works out really well because it keeps the movie balanced and it contrasts throughout the story. And then there's some that do that and it doesn't make sense. It's more like they're trying to cram in all the story in the last 5 minutes. This film has two separate paces, it feels like. It feels a little bit slower in the beginning, and then it speeds up as it goes through gradually. So it from like the first minute on, while it's still slow, it's slowly picking up speed. And I think that this movie does a great job showing off the pace of the film properly. I feel like they did a really good job with that, and that's something that's hard to master because a lot of good films that I personally like don't have the best pacing. And I feel like the pace was great. A lot of scenes had their individual pace, and that went really super well. The music that they were utilizing in a lot of the scenes to help, to help enhance the pacing and enhance the feel. They had a great music choice. And the camera work in this was really solid. I like the angles they were doing and just the movement of the camera. The camera was really, really well executed. And I think that that's really hard to pull off. So they did a really good job in that aspect, which is a hard one to really, really, really pull off. The actor that did Michael Myers, I feel like he did a great job. Where people say that it's not hard to play Michael Myers from the people I've talked to, but it's very, very hard to pull off this killer with no emotion and make it believable. And he made it believable, if that makes sense. Like, I felt like this Michael Myers could have been real. And there was a nice touch of where they actually did a great job carrying over from the original Halloween movie. There were some things that carried over into this film that I thought were really good. Now, we've never seen Myers without the mask. We still don't see him without the mask. But when he gets stabbed in his eye in the first film, we do see a scar. So that's just something I wanted to note. I don't mean that as a spoiler. It doesn't really change anything. It was a nice little touch to show that they did do a great job continuing and not missing out on a lot of the details from the first film. That this really felt like a planned sequel. Like, this sequel felt like this is how it was meant to be. It felt like when they made the first movie, they waited 40 years to make a sequel. So I felt like that they did a really good job with that there. And in my notes here, I have little notes that are talking about the dialogue, and throughout the whole movie, the dialogue stayed consistently good, and the pacing stayed consistently good, and the costumes were great. The storyline itself wasn't too crazy, where it wasn't like, it wasn't all over. I felt like the story, there was a separate little like side plot. There were a few little side plots, like 2 or 3. And I felt like even though they had side plots, it wasn't like flooding the story with too much matter. I feel like that the side plots kind of helped wrap into the mainstream plot. They were like little like tributes to the main river, and I feel like they did a great job feeding into what would be the inevitable climax and the inevitable like meetup. So I feel like everything that happened, like when all of it comes together, that they did a really good job doing that. And I would definitely recommend this movie if you want amazing gore effects. If you're someone that likes gore and gore effects, there is some gore here. You might really like it. However, if you're into really the gore effects were good, but they weren't the best. This is definitely a film I'd recommend to horror fans. I recommend it to people who are really that really want a horror with a good plot and not just a ton of kills. There are a good amount of kills in this film, but definitely there are movies with more kills, and this is definitely good for people who don't mind a steady paced or steadily increasing paced film, and people who are really big fans of Halloween. I really think you'll love this. I know some people said that they like the original storyline more, but I feel like from what I'm gathering or from what I've seen, I feel like a lot of people like this a lot more than what the originals were. So if you guys are really big Halloween fans, I think you guys will really like it, and I do recommend the film. Again, we don't do number ratings here because number ratings take away from all of the aspects that go into a film. But I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Let me know down below if you'd like me to do a spoiler review. So, as you know, we refrain from spoilers on this review here. And if you guys feel like I spoiled anything, let me know. And I'm sorry if I did spoil anything. I don't feel like I did. But if I did, let me know, and we can. But if you guys would like a spoiler review, let me know. I have all the movie play-by-play written down in this little notebook here. So for those of you who can't watch the movie, maybe we could do something where I go blow by blow throughout the whole entire film, and you can get to experience it in a different way. But I hope you guys had a great time watching, and I hope to see you guys later. Peace.